Like, man, my wife and daughter drink all my beer when I'm not there. And then they go and like rearrange my comic books.
Well, that's why comic books are meant for bachelors.
I know.
It's
awful. If I say anything, they kick the shit out of me. Oh, are we on?
Sure.
Oh,
sure.
Hi. Sorry.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back. We are back after a couple of weeks.
Yeah. It took me that long to grow this.
Yeah. If you remember, the Human Torch is a robot. This might be the podcast for you.
Wow.
Might be.
And if you remember the Human Torch, walk outside and you will become him.
Yeah, for those of you that aren't hanging about, we are at 104 degrees in Salt Lake today.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, that was yesterday's temperature, which was a record.
Yesterday when I left at 7:30, it was 101.
Wow, that's crazy.
It just is stupid.
Yeah, I was talking to Kat last night. She's in Chicago, which it's nice there. It's like 87 degrees with the breeze coming off.
That's still lake. Pretty warm for there, but they've got that breeze.
That humidity in the breeze, yeah, it's pretty nice.
So. Lake Mulligan or whatever the hell that place is called. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Bella, you live in Chicago. It's Lake Mulligan, right? What? Lake Mulligan in Chicago, that's the lake? What? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right. Anyway, so.
Transplanted Chicagoans.
I know, my God, man, right?
All right, so everything's late, nobody dies. Episode 72.
Lucky 72.
And man, we got some stuff to talk about. We're going to introduce y'all to Greg Stradamus today.
All right. How you doing, man? Why are you so mad, man? Why are you hitting the table with your water? What's wrong with you?
I'm frustrated. I'm just a warped, frustrated old man.
Well, I know that, but why are you so mad?
Just the state of things. The state of our hobby, where it's going.
Yeah,
looking down the new issue wall, and I don't recognize any of the mainstream characters up there anymore.
It's kind of a mess.
It kind of is.
Oh, Bella, geez, Beck, that's your name. Will you pass that stuff on to Bella, please? Thank you.
Her name is definitely Beck.
Yes.
So.
Anyway. So, yes.
So
I got a new Tiamat shirt.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
So we
trying to bring the room up a little bit, man. Oh my God.
You got like a fire dragon on your shirt, and it's like 100 and hell ass.
Yeah, that is 100 and hell ass. That's what the thermometer reads. Yes. Yeah.
I was like, Google, how hot is it? And Google comes back and like, yeah, leave me alone. It's too hot. I don't want to work.
0111101.
Anyway, the future of comics is our topic today, and very, very good timing with the announcement yesterday that Boom Studios is selling out.
So, literally this time, just figuratively.
Yeah.
I don't know what this was, but oh my God,
this is our bye Boom.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's crazy. So I've seen a lot from collectors and readers that are thinking it's good because the promise of better distribution and.
How?
I don't know how
is that better. How is that better distribution?
Right.
The distributor bought them.
Right. Like, is Penguin Random House, are they a better distributor?
No.
Then this is what we get from the comic shops.
Yeah, no, of course they're not. Huh?
I've been digesting a lot, and what's his name? Aaron. I'm gonna get this wrong. Aaron Sweeney. Aaron used to work for Boom Studios.
Sweeney Todd?
No.
Todd Sweeney?
Sparrow. Aaron Sparrow.
That's my next one.
Who used to work for Boom Studios. He just recently was watching a podcast. And he was talking about it. And he's talking about how this is how Boom was created. It was created to sell out.
I mean, Russ, I feel like Russ always wanted that.
Right.
I mean, Boom was, I hate to even equate him with this, but Boom was almost like a comic version of Fannex. They were created to be sold for a lot of money.
Right.
And Ross is a good guy. I've never had anything bad to say about him. Never had a bad interaction with him. But I think that to make a company so you can sell it seems a little weird. It seems like your heart's not in it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I didn't open this place up so I could sell it 5 years later.
Which is good because you would have lost money.
Lost my ass. Yeah, still might. I don't know, but no, it's. I don't mean to be critical of Ross because, like I said, he's a really good guy. He's a good business guy.
Right.
And I haven't liked the decisions they've made in the last several years, but they're their business decisions, not mine. So, whatever. Nobody does business the same. Everybody is always going to criticize somebody else's,
right,
decisions. But I mean, I this is where the stuff worries me. It's kind of like the Marvel situation with this Vengeance of Moon Knight garbage that they did, or the Fist of Khonshu junk.
Okay.
And so Marvel put out, they sent an email, right? And they said, "Oh, hey, we have a surprise book coming to you. Yeah, it's Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, #0." And I'm like, okay. This, and then they sent it back. We have a surprise book. They didn't even say coming to you. They just said a surprise book, Fist of Khonshu #0. And then they were like, "Oh yeah, another email. We've sent copies out." I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. Whatever. So the copies was plural.
Okay.
But they meant one copy to each store. And it was a variant. And people were asking for it. And people wanted it on their hold. And people wanted this. And people wanted that. And I'm like, well, I don't have it. I only have one copy.
Right.
And they said it was going to be sent to us to be on sale on the 3rd or the 4th or whatever the hell it was, right? 3rd, I guess. So I'm like, well, okay, no order codes, no explanation about anything. Well, the #0 we had to order. There was an order code. So we had to order it from Random House or Diamond. Okay. But by the time we all figured that out, nobody had enough time, unless it was drop shipped or overnighted, which would have cost us a fortune.
Right.
Nobody had any time to get it here. For the date that they advertised, it was on sale. Now, what they should have done, because they did their social media announcements before they contacted us. So what they should have done is contacted us and said, been very clear and upfront about it. It will be announced on social media tomorrow, or later today. You will receive one promotional variant copy, and here's the order code, so you can order the regular cover, so we can get it in for the 3rd. But they did none of that. I still don't have it. It's in a box. It's going to be delivered today.
At some time.
Sometime today. Yeah. And so, this is the norm now. This is normal business for a comic shop now. We don't know what's happening.
Right.
Boom sells yesterday, right? The only thing I'm getting, is I saw a social media post from Ross. It said, I sold Boom.
Right.
Random House, the chosen distributor of Marvel, now owns Boom. And I had to look it up on Bleeding Cool. And they said that Marvel used to have a portion of Boom. They used to own a portion of Boom. Because Fox owned a portion of Boom.
Right.
And they own Fox. Right. So now Marvel has a portion of Boom. So they have sold their interest in it because they don't want it to look like a conflict of interest. I guarantee you, what did I say 3 years ago? Marvel's going to buy Random House. Disney's going to buy it.
Yeah.
And this is just putting the pieces in place to buy Random House. They will have their own distributor like they did in the 90s. They'll own Boom full and outright instead of part, which is what they did. This is a way to own Boom fully because it's movies. you know, and I still don't know how I'm going to order Boom comics. I don't know if I can still get them through Diamond, because I don't think they've said anything.
They
about
have
that.
They have. They said they're still going to distribute through Diamond, as well as Penguin. Random.
Let me guess. They said that on social media.
I don't think it was on social media. I think it's on the website buried somewhere.
Oh, yeah, but they haven't sent us information, is what I'm saying,
right.
Man. You know, it doesn't. They need to communicate, and there's zero communication. You know, and the thing that I worry about is we were talking about this. We've talked about this 100 times. Comic books are now, publishers and distributors are now becoming Comcast, Viacom, blah blah blah.
Right.
You know, and they are huge corporations now. They own all these little corporations, and it's all under one umbrella. And when you do that, you can't provide correct information to the people that actually need it, which is us. Right. You know, and I had somebody call on Saturday and said, I'm from Vegas. None of the shops here have this Moon Knight Zero, and I've called everywhere. Nobody has it. Do you have any left? And I said, well, I never got any. And they said, oh, yeah, that's what they said. That's what I meant. Do you have any at all? I'm like, right. You know, they're shooting themselves in the foot, man. You know, but that's the thing is Disney, the Viacom Comcast, doesn't care about the person that's getting Comcast internet. Right. Which is what we are to Disney.
Right.
You know, they don't care about that $50 that we're going to spend on Moon Knight Zero.
Well, I can guarantee it. So a lot of the information I got, I watch Clownfish, and he talks a lot about the business of comics and especially how it relates to Disney. He used to work for Disney and all that.
Yeah.
So one thing that he said is, if you want to know where we're going in the future, let's take a look at who's playing well with each other. Mm-hmm. So right now we've got Disney, Marvel working with Random House. Mm-hmm. And before that we had Boom working real close with Random House. Now Random House owns Boom.
Yep.
Disney is working real close with Random House. So it's not a huge stretch to say 2-3 years down the road, Disney's going to own Random House.
Yep, which is exactly what I thought as soon as they went over there.
And
I knew that was a bid to move in, so they could buy it. I knew it was,
and it's a good one. I mean, Disney's not looking at, are we going to get Something's Killing Children next month? They don't care.
They're looking at, let's get that Berserker movie.
This is we want the Berserker movie. We want the Something's Killing Children on FX because that would be a huge hit. You know, there's a couple.
They're keeping it in house, man.
They've got, Boom's also got Power Rangers still, right? Mm-hmm. Which would be a huge hit for Disney Plus.
Yep. That's all they're doing, man.
Right.
You know, and that's, somebody yesterday that works in the industry, but as like journalism in the industry that I was talking to. I don't want to say who it was, but right. He's like, okay, well, you know what we're going to do? We're heading right to a place where if it's not a huge hit, it disappears.
Right. So a lot of your smaller indie, and there's a lot of great stories out there, a lot of good stuff being written. Mm-hmm. And I'm afraid that we'll see like a top tier writer like a Doug Wagner get lost in the shuffle.
Oh yeah.
With all this.
I don't know if you've read Blow Away.
I haven't.
Zach Kaplan's new book. It is amazing. It is so good. And that's published through Boom. And as soon as I read last week that Philip Seplick left Boom, he was the president.
Right.
And as soon as I read he left, I'm like, oh, they're gone. They're not going to be Boom as we know it anymore. They're out. And he knew something was going to happen. He didn't want to be part of it. I guarantee it.
Right.
And he left. He resigned. And what I'm thinking now, he was a big reason that some of these, that Tynion and Kaplan and like all these guys were going to Boom. He was great working with shops until, they wouldn't really let him anymore after the pandemic. He was great working with creators. getting new creators, getting smaller creators in, trying to make their mark in a mid-tier publisher or a mid-level publisher that,
Right.
Going up, of course, but I mean, come on. Sorry. So, all this going on, I was like, man, something's going to happen here. I can feel it. So I was not really surprised when I read that yesterday. I was surprised that it was Random House, but then when I put 2 and 2 and 2 and 4.6 together, I was like, oh, okay,
well, you had mentioned 2 weeks ago on our last show, you had mentioned the Fox tie-in with Boom and how that could lead to Disney eventually owning Boom.
We should rename the podcast Greg Sardonis. We really should. I'm telling you, man. But what I'm worried about now is it's under Random House,
right,
which is a giant international book publisher. You're never going to see anything from a small writer or artist in Boom again.
And they have addressed that, saying we've got all this smaller talent at the imprint, and we want that to continue. But realistically, can it? I mean, can it in that environment?
Well, maybe Boom day before yesterday wanted that to continue, but does Boom today want it to continue?
Right.
Because today it's a different company than it was yesterday.
And I hate to draw the parallel, but like George Lucas sold Star Wars with the understanding you're going to make these next 3 movies based on my ideas, and none of that happened.
Yeah, because they don't need to.
Because
they don't care. And that's the thing. Boom wants to. They say they want to continue with smaller creators with more independent stuff. Okay, Marvel said they were going to stick with Diamond no matter what after the pandemic. Then they didn't. Boom, Image said they were going to stick there no matter what. Image criticized DC and said it was the dumbest move they've ever fly. Dumbest move. Sorry, Jeff Goldblum. They said it was the dumbest move they've ever seen. They called them idiots.
Yeah.
And then they went to, Lunar.
Right.
And signed an exclusive, which I don't even know what the hell an exclusive is anyway. If somebody else can distribute it, that doesn't mean anything. All that means it mucks up and gums up the work. So we've got stuff shipping at the wrong time. We've got half the stuff getting here. The other covers don't get here for another week or two. I mean, we're out of monkey wrenches. They've all been thrown in.
Right.
But, I've heard this before. I've heard this for the last 5 years from companies. Oh, man, we're going to stand together. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, man. We'll never do this. And then 3 months later, they do it. So I don't believe what they say.
Yeah, and this coming, a week away from the Dark Horse thing?
Yeah.
There's really we're in a situation where there's not many truly independent or comic book publishers left.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them have gone by the wayside. I don't know. I mean, even Bad Idea is.
Well, it's in the title.
Yeah, they're not getting anything accomplished lately. So yeah, it doesn't.
They may as well call themselves "We ain't gonna make it."
Yeah, does not bode very well for independent comic books. I don't think, which is upsetting. I don't know if, and it's hard for me to kind of see in the future and kind of see where that's going. But what's the future for, a Bleak Haven or Wasatch Wonders or these self-published guys?
Yeah,
because they used to be able to aspire to something like Doug was self-published and worked himself into, getting into a publishing house because of his talent.
Rip, this is the problem with doing this live.
So, if you haven't heard, Boom has sold out to Penguin Random House, and that's what we're discussing at this point while Greg's wandering around doing his thing, trying to get a grip on where all this is going.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I must be allergic to bullshit.
But I think one of my big concerns is I was really hoping that we would see somebody like an IDW or a Boom Studios picking up licensing for Marvel and for DC.
That's Dynamite.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, they're already doing it.
A little bit.
They're doing the All Ages Disney stuff, and they're doing like Thundercats and the cartoon stuff for DC.
Right.
And I mean, I thought for just a minute, maybe something could happen with Marvel and Dynamite, like they'd snatch them up. But I thought about that, and I'm like, no, Nick wouldn't do that. That wouldn't make sense. Bertucci would not. He wouldn't sell Dynamite.
Well, and you have to look at why these companies even exist. Dynamite exists because they want to be a comic book publisher. They want to do comic.
Well, they got into comic book publishing. They started with variants. They're dynamic forces.
Right. But that's what they want. They want to do comic books.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to do movies. They don't want to do storyboards. They don't want to pick up old scripts like Boom used to do. They'd go buy a stack of old scripts from an agent that got rejected from every studio and turned it into a comic book.
Yeah.
And then hope to get it picked up
as an option. Yeah. So, I will tell you one thing. I think if The Boys would have been a failure, Dynamite would be owned by Marvel right now.
I can see that.
I think they would have picked him up, and I really wonder if that's part of the reason they made that deal for him to do the Disney stuff. I wonder if that was part of it. So they would have a relationship, and then just be like, "Hey, let's get married." Let's take this all the way, guys. You're going to lose your pure art variant. Sorry, that was a really dumb joke.
I mean,
that's an inside joke, whatever.
And I think there's some good stuff coming from Dynamite.
Bueller. There is. There's some really good stuff.
Well, Bueller just did an interview with her name escapes me, but one of the has her hands in everything over there at Dynamite, and they got some good stuff coming up. They've got some great plans for the future. I just wish that they would kind of give us a break on the variants. And I understand that that's their thing, but
it's a lot. I had this week. It was somebody special ordered them. Because they're gonna flip them, and I'm giving them a deal on them so they can do that. But somebody ordered like all the variants that were not like $50, $100 variants of the Vampirella series this week, and I got them in, and that's part of what took me so goddamn long to get them. So I was like, "You got to be kidding me, man!"
I mean,
really,
they've got a lot of great talent there. They really don't have any. They don't really have any standout series.
Most of them are licensed.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
I mean,
And so I guess if you're into the variants and you want to buy a bunch of variants, that's good for you.
I mean, they do. Tony Fleece is doing the Army of Darkness book, and that's fun. That's a lot.
Yeah, he's doing a great job on that.
I don't think it should be an ongoing, but I think it's a lot of fun. And I think it's important for him to do more things like that. So absolutely. He's not Animal Boy.
Absolutely. Well, and
hey, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a Lockjaw series. Let's call Tony.
Yeah, and that's my thing with Tony is he's extremely talented as a storyteller, and that is the horror, especially comedy horror. I mean, that's really his will.
Oh, right, yeah.
He's really
the Army of Darkness is great, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's perfect for him.
I'm not sure we need a Stray Dogs cover on it, but whatever. They did one anyway. Not technically, but
Stray Dogs is super popular.
No, it is. And
so,
I like Feral. I think it's really good, but I think it should be 8 issues.
Right.
I'm really liking it right now. I'm really enjoying it, but I always have that fear on a very specific niche story that it is going to run out of. I was going to say run out of legs. Run out of steam. It has plenty of legs, and it has 8 lives. So it has 8 lives. Oh my god, 9 lives. It should be a 9-issue miniseries. Feral should be 9 lives.
Yeah, I can see that.
Call me Tony, because No, I mean, the whole situation is, again, I see it becoming, and this stuff never works.
Yeah.
You know, Walmart came in and put everybody out of business. You know what I mean? And then people started opening different shops in different ways later on. You know what I mean? And then they kind of lost that grip on the world, you know? And so, you know, Amazon was like, oh, okay, man, everybody's going to get everything from us online, and nobody could do anything about it. And they kind of lost that grip a little bit. You know, they got too big.
Right.
You know, and people don't want to go someplace where everything is that. You know what I mean? You know, so I think eventually it will backfire. But at the same time, you know, and I think that I don't know. It's scary. I don't like it.
Yeah. And one thing that Neon from Clownfish TV, when I was listening, he made the point there were, you know, at the beginning of 2020, we had 8 publishers.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're down to 6. And now those publishers, like distributors, are buying publishers and consolidating. Pretty soon we're going to be down a couple more. And at some point, not too distant future, we could be looking at, you know.
Cheers, y'all. Sorry. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We could be looking at Amazon. Amazon owns everything.
Yes. Yeah. You know, so yeah. So and now Amazon.
And then we're distributing through Amazon. You're getting your floppies delivered to your door. And then where our comic shops are going to be.
We're back issue stores.
Yeah.
That's all we are, is back issue stores. You know, which I could deal with. Fine. Because I got a few. You know. But I mean, you know, I gotta tell you, man, you know, I would almost be happy at this point in time if they just put out graphic novels and said, here, this is what we're doing now, man. You can get them anywhere. You can get them all over the place. You know, we're a comic shop. We've got all the graphic novels up there. Okay, great. But look, we got all these back issues too, man. You know, if you want to see what it used to be, if you want to go back, you know, we become a record store.
Right.
You know, we become, you know.
You would get the occasional, you know, Tony Fleeks that puts out a 6-issue floppy series. And you have those once in a while on the shelves, like they do with records.
But I mean, you know, and right, and you know, they could do, you know, okay, well, you know, Doug puts out Plastic 3, right?
Right.
But there's a limited edition Plastic 3 where you can get those old timey floppy issues. You know, and you can only get those at specialty shops. You know what I mean? And it's like, I mean, it's getting to the point now, you know, where, I mean, why not? You know, and people are coming in and going, do you have cover A for X-Men and X-Men 1? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me go flip through the pile of literally 11 covers that I have back here, you know? And I can't, that comes back again. I can't order 50 copies of cover A and then 20 copies of the other one, because I got 400 copies and I'm never going to move that.
Right.
You know, I'm not Midtown. I ain't going to move that number. So, you know, I mean, at this point, I'd almost rather just see it, you know, or Disney, just buy them all. Just buy them all and just put out Disney comics and, you know, adult.
I don't know. I
don't care. I'm done.
I can honestly see the future of comics being graphic novels.
I mean, you know, I can't. You know, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a long time before that happens. We're looking 10 years.
You know, perfect
10 years
example,
down the line.
And I don't want to get this gentleman's name wrong, so I'm looking it up on my damn phone because I'm old and that's how I roll. Yo,
it's pronounced Barack Obama. Is that not here?
No.
Okay.
Let's see if I can track him down here. But we had Ogden Con over the weekend, which was a nice little convention. It was very reminiscent of those old, you know, junior high auditorium conventions. There's a couple local creators there. But a great example is Sledge Comics. So Sledge is a local comic creator. His name's Kerry Chug. So you can look him up on Facebook, Kerry Chug, Sledge Comics. Look him up on YouTube, I will put a link to his YouTube channel in the description below, so you can click on that and go check out his stuff. But it's a great story. He's got 3 issues.
Okay.
But he's got 3 issues and a graphic novel with those 3 issues. And that's how Michael Lovins did his book. We Go Anywhere, and he just keeps reprinting those with different covers.
Yeah.
So I think that there's something to be said for that business model, because both those titles, Sledge and We Go Anywhere, are great reads. I mean, it's a great story, and that gives you an opportunity to pick it up in a graphic novel form and have it in your hands and read the entire story,
right? Yeah,
and not have to worry about losing issue 5 or issue 6, or whatever that never got printed. Yeah, which is a huge problem with small indie books.
Yeah, I think, and it's it's interesting you say that, because I think we're going in the wrong direction with this. As an industry, we need to come back. We need to, overprint issues again.
Oh yeah.
And we need to overprint them. And because, we're so concerned, this industry is so incredibly concerned right now with fear of missing out. Well, fear of missing out is stupid. It doesn't matter. But it's just that fear of missing out on the first print of issue 1 or first print of issue 7 when there's, this brand new character and, whatever. If you overprint that and they're afraid that people will stop coming in because they're like, oh no, man, I'm never going to get that first, I'm never going to get this, But the fact of the matter is, and if you overprint it, people will come and get that number 1. But even better is that number 1 will be there. So they'll come and get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right.
Overprint that stuff, man.
Right.
Keep it in the public eye. Keep it available. Keep selling it. And the situation is, and right now people will come in and they're like, oh, you have 2 and 3. Do you have a number 1? Like, oh no, I don't. And they're, it's out of print. And they're like, oh, well, I'm not interested then.
Right. And at that point, your only hope is
Albert. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
At that point, your only hope is to hopefully they will put it out in a trade, and then you can pick it up and read it. That
way. But then the people who want the issues won't buy the trade. Right. And the people that do the trades now, which is getting me more and more, those people, like they don't want to buy the issues. They just want the whole thing. It's like we made trades so prevalent that I think it's hurt the industry, honestly. Because people are like, oh, you don't have, okay, I'll wait for the trade. So now we got a bunch of old unsold books. If they didn't put the trade out for literally everything.
Well, I think if it went to a trade situation where, especially in indie books, everything was put out as a trade. Mm-hmm. If something hits like something that's killing the children, then that trade is what's going to go up in value. That's going to be the sought after book, right?
But I don't even care about value.
When these people come in to get these books, they will then be like, oh, comics are cool. I'm reading this story. And you'd be like,
right.
They are cool. Look at all these back issues.
Yes.
This is the stuff, because this you can't get off the trade shelf.
Yeah. And this is not,
and
the way the trade started is they just reprinted the stuff that's hard to find.
Right.
When trade paperbacks started, they, it was the Wolverine miniseries. And it was the Punisher miniseries, and it was little books like that you just couldn't find laying around in the back issue bins, And then they started doing, the Marvel Masterworks and stuff like that with the first X-Men issues,
right?
And again, you're not just gonna walk in and find a stack of Uncanny X-Men ones. It ain't gonna happen, man. Well, now, because there's 9 different volumes, sure you can. I'm talking about the first one, but and that's what trades used to be. And I mean, I remember, I wanted to read the Punisher miniseries, and nobody had, couldn't find it. If I did find it, it was too expensive. So I bought the Punisher trade.
I do think that it, like going to a trade publishing, it'll take the speculators off of your new book wall, first of all, which is a good thing. Get the speculators away from that and get them going into your back issue bins.
Yeah.
Because that's where they need to, if they're going to be flipping books and speculating, that's where they're going to find.
And that's where the value is going to be.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, and I say this every day, all day, at the end of the day, a book that you just picked up off the shelf is a $3.99 book. Well, unless it's DC, then it's $8.99. Or unless it's IDW this week, then it's $11.99. But I mean, and it's a $4, $5, $6, $7 book. It's whatever the cover price is, man. It just came out, man.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that to be $40 online on eBay. Now, the only one that I can see where I was like, oh, okay, I get it, was the Ultimate Black Panther 1. Because Random House, that just bought Boom, is going to do a great job, lost, 100,000 of them or whatever. Or I can't remember what it was. But it was like they lost like thousands of books.
Wow.
So tons of places did not get Black Panther #1 first print. Now, what I think Marvel should have done at that point was found out how many they lost and then went back to print and said, here, we're doing this. Consider this first print.
Yeah.
They should have done it, man. They had that everything set up for that first print because they just did it. They should have found out what that was and gone back and said, okay, we're going to print these and send them out to the shops that didn't get them.
But I personally, I kind of dig stories like that, though. It's kind of cool as a collector to be like, okay, I got this book. That I mean, I've got a couple in my collection. I've got To Breathe a Body #1, the Hive Comics exclusive, which they did 250 books. Well, I know that the guys ended up destroying half that run. Mm-hmm. So everybody likes that.
But I mean,
that health cover.
But that's different than somebody just losing it. And and you know what, man? I'm going to go like Flat Earth Society here, man. With Marvel's relationship with Random House and Random House buying up publishers, did they really lose them?
Yeah. I can see that.
I'm just wondering, man.
Just asking the question.
Look, man.
Asking the question.
Are they in are they in somebody's garage?
I mean, that would be a hell of a find in another 6 months here.
Yeah, man. How weird. That crap happens all the time, man. People find stuff that, oh man, I thought these were gone.
Yeah.
That's what happened with the Batman Spawn stuff. They found them.
Or the case of what was it? Amazing Spider-Man #1? Oh, Amazing Fantasy 15. Was it a case of those that somebody found?
I don't know.
It was some huge book. I think it was AF-15.
They just found a case of them?
They just found a case of them. And they're all like really high, mid-grade copies.
Jesus.
Yeah. And they were able to salvage, I don't know, 70, 75 of them.
Oh my God, man.
So, yeah, crazy.
Well, but, and what that should do is drive the price of that book slightly down.
You would think.
But it doesn't. Because the whole value of something is supposed to be supply and demand.
Yeah. Well, but we, as collectors, we don't think of those things. A perfect example of that is a pallet of Spider-Woman #1 in the factory box it wasn't, I think that even predated Diamond. I think that was
probably Capital.
Yeah. I think so. It was found back in a warehouse in New York, and it was like an entire pallet of Spider-Woman #1, and that book was,
oh my God,
and the guy was like just selling them 2 at a time on eBay, getting hundreds of dollars for them until they realized what was going on, and
they realized, wait a minute, man, this guy has sold 1,000,
and now the book, I mean, it's still worth a little bit of money.
Yeah. I mean, and I kind of feel like the price guide should reflect things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, and my example is always Spawn 1. Somebody comes in, and they're like, "Oh, hey, man, I got a Spawn number 1. It's worth $50 or whatever the hell it is. I think it's $70 in there, man, right now. And do you want to buy it from me? I'm like, yeah, I'll give you $1. I got a bunch over here. Yeah. I think that book, and I don't care how historically important it is, man. That book should be a $20 book. I don't care if it's the first appearance of Spawn ever. And it doesn't matter. I mean, what was it? A hugely popular book in the 90s, still popular, but nowhere near what it was then, with a failed movie, a canceled cartoon that was really cool, and they can't get anything else off the ground.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying anything about McFarlane. I'm not saying anything about the quality of the book. I'm not saying anything about the quality of anything. That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the fact that there was, 7 million of them?
Right.
And everybody friggin' has one, man.
Right.
A book that has a print run of 7 million, unless those things have been destroyed in the war, like an Action Comics 1, there's no way that value should be that high on it. It just shouldn't.
I mean, I can see an argument for Malibu Sun. Like, that was the
ad.
Right, but it's still, like, if you want to talk about historical significance and the rarity of a book and why something should be worth a little bit more, that's a good example.
I mean, I can see that because that was a free thing that has stamps and stickers all over and people threw them away.
Yeah. So it was limited to, compared to Spawn number 1, extremely limited distribution to begin with. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, half of them or more got thrown in the trash by collectors.
Right.
So, I can see it. What is it? Foom number 8? The first X-Men new team?
Yeah.
I mean, that's another one.
Right.
Like, nobody.
I mean, it shouldn't be worth anywhere near what the book is worth. The actual comic is worth, I don't think. But I mean, because, it's an ad, right? But for completists and collectors, I think the Malibu Sun maybe $10. It's not a story. It's not anything important, but
from my view of collecting, Malibu Sun and Spawn number 1. If Spawn number 1's worth $20, Malibu Sun's worth at least $25. I think that Malibu Sun should be worth more because you're not going to find those every place.
Yeah, that is true.
You walk into any comic shop in town, you're going to get a Spawn number 1. You walk into my basement right now, and you can have 5. Like, they're all over the place.
I got 2, so
yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's and that's a good argument for the supply and demand. I don't know though, because it's not a complete story. It's not any kind of a story. It's
the big problem there is the reason Spawn number 1 is worth more is because it's not the collectors that are driving the value of that book. It's the flippers, the speculators.
Yeah, that's true.
Collectors, I mean, I know that if I wait around, I'll get another Spawn number 1 for $5 or less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, perfect example. Amazing Spider-Man number 1. You had the opportunity this weekend to buy an ASM number 1, and you passed it up because
I'm not paying that much.
You own a comic book store, and it's going to come through the door eventually.
Yep. The AF-15 came through. That'll come through too.
Yeah.
The 15's much more rare. There's Spider-Man 1s all over the place, man. Yeah. I mean, when we were in Chicago at the Comic-Con, I probably saw 100 of them.
That's a lot in one room. That's a lot in one room.
I mean, there were some vendors that had 4 or 5 of them, man.
Wow.
And it's like literally all over the place. And I'm like, I'm not paying retail. I'm also not paying over retail. That's for damn sure. And I mean, I honestly, and this sounds like me, but I've had a comic shop for 20 years. I haven't paid retail for a comic book in 2 decades.
Right.
And I mean, if you want to go and flipping back, I've got so much I want to talk about here. I'm sorry. We missed out for like 2 weeks, and I know we're almost done, but I think I feel that a CGC book, and this is that I'm going to go to this really quick.
Oh, next week that's going to be our subject next week. The future of the hobby as it relates to CGC grading and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I'll just set that up right now. I
think a CGC book should be worth what the grade says in the book plus the grading price.
Absolutely.
No more.
Absolutely.
No more. If it costs, and if it costs $1,000 to grade an FF number 1, then it should be that graded price plus the $1,000 that it takes. If it costs $50 to grade a spawn number 1, it should be worth that grade plus $50. Okay, that's all that.
No, I'm with you 110% on that one.
And now the Malibu Sun thing, brings up a problem. And that is, does every Marvel Age that came out, are those worth more than the first issues of the books that they were advertising?
I think a lot of them are. And the way I collect, the way I view collecting, mm-hmm. I think a lot of them are.
Not personal value, but actual, book value.
Well,
because technically that's going to be the first appearance of all those.
Yeah. A great example is Spider-Man 2099.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's, to me, that Marvel Age, I don't know what number it is, but that Marvel Age, it was Black Suit Spider-Man. Showed up in Marvel Age first.
Right. Yeah.
So that book, to me, should be worth more than Secret Wars 8.
I don't think it should because it's not a story.
But it is the first time that concept was ever put out there.
Yeah.
But
we get to iffy stuff.
But that's how I collect.
Right.
That's the way my mind works when I'm picking up things for my personal collection. If it were me, I would pay more. And it may be because I've had...
That is good to know because...
Oh, you've caught me on that. I will pay more for Star Trek than anybody in here.
That is very true. You are notoriously cheap. You don't pay shit for shit, man.
But if Star Trek here,
book, my God. No. Oh, my God.
You'd be like, on this People magazine, William Shatner appears on an ad in the corner of
that's the
back.
First appearance of William Shatner in a magazine. No, it's there's a lot of weird stuff with that, and it's like that's when you get into splitting hairs,
right?
And I think you get into all that weird stuff. I still consider Amazing Spider-Man 365 to be the first 2099 because it was a story.
Yeah,
it was a preview. It was a story.
So I consider Hellboy, like its first appearance was, I don't even know what it was, Concrete?
No, Next Men.
Next Men?
Like 21, I think, something like that. 20,
so
23.
That issue, obviously, I'm not a big Hellboy guy. That is the first appearance of Hellboy.
No, it isn't.
But the Salt Lake Comic-Con pamphlet that had the Hellboy prototype in it, I would absolutely love to have one of those. I would pay a lot more for that than I would the Next Man.
Well, yeah, because it's Next Man. but they also had a San Diego Comics.
Really?
Comic-Con Comics with Hellboy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about.
But the Salt Lake pamphlet is a lot more rare.
Exactly.
A lot more rare.
But it's not a story. But it would be super cool to have that.
And I happen to know from personal experience that somebody didn't see far enough in the future and they took an entire case of those and threw them in a dumpster.
I don't doubt that. Why would you think anything else, man?
Because I'm the one that did it. And I wish now. But that's crazy.
You did, really?
Yeah.
Dumbass.
Yeah, we were cleaning up after the con and we had a whole case of them. And they were like, what are we doing with these? And Pat was like, just throw them away. We don't need them anymore. The con's over. I'm like, ah.
Oh, man. Wow.
I kept like 2 of them.
Well, no wonder you want it so bad.
I kept like 2 of them. And I don't even have them anymore.
Oh, jeez, man. Yeah, and that's where you get into that gray area where, if there's an ad in a Comic-Con pamphlet or a program or something, then, is that the first appearance? I mean,
it's really
when you've got like Chicago Comic-Con, we're going to be premiering the new Iron Man suit, and the day of the Comic-Con, there's a bus ad with it. Is the bus ad the first appearance? It's like, where do you go, man? How far down do you have to go to the rabbit hole?
That really is a different type of collecting.
Yeah.
It really is.
No. You know, and so I don't think they should be worth as much as the actual book, but I do think they probably should be worth a little more than they are.
Like I do, I collect weird things. So like I collect like Kool-Aid Man, and you know,
I know you bought one from me.
The one I always pick up every time I see it is that Batman. It was a PSA where Batman Death of Innocence, where
oh yeah, the landmine thing.
The landmine.
That wasn't a PSA though. That was an actual honest to God issue.
It was a good book.
It was pretty good.
Book. But yeah, it was a PSA.
I mean, it was an issue or a PSA disguised as a comic book. Yes, yeah, but you know.
But no, that was actually pretty good. Every chance I get, I grab that one.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Really
that
well
was
done.
like that was the Princess Diana thing, you know. And she's like, "You must be careful of landmines because children are dying."
Yeah,
that's my Princess Diana.
All right,
that's also my Prince Charles impression. That's pretty much anybody from England,
any English royal impression,
really any
or
English,
anybody.
But that's also my Tom Holland impression.
Anything, buddy, from Game of Thrones.
I'm spied on. Please be careful of landmines. The children are dying.
All right. So next week, and if you're watching, go ahead and leave your input on this and talk about the future of where CGC is going. Not just CGC. There's others out there. Just grading in general.
Yeah.
EGS is out there plugging away still. They're doing good work. CBCS is doing a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know we've got a lot of you international guys that are going to watch this overnight.
Hello, everyone from England.
But with CGC opening up, they're opening up in Australia, Tokyo, where else? I think they're opening up in Italy, maybe. Someplace over there. And
yeah, but it's not even called that. It's called a CGC. Listen, is it on? You know.
It's a CGC.
It's you can grade your book, you can grade your shoes, you can grade your movie, and you can grade your spaghetti. Now that's a perfect tomato. Look what I grew. Sorry, everybody in Italy. I'm sorry, in England. Sorry.
Grading, the future of Overstreet, pricing, all that. So if you have a question or want to weigh in, leave a comment below, and we will post this on.
One final Greg Stradamus. Within 10 years, Disney will own Sony. Okay, go ahead.
You think?
I know.
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know.
Unless it's blocked by an antitrust government thing, they're going to buy them.
I mean, I know they want to, but I don't think Sony's going to do it. I don't think Sony would be.
Trust me, they will get in a position where they have to.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. That's an interesting thought.
You come back to this shit.
How
many things I've said that have happened?
Yeah, that's true. If hindsight. So leave us a comment below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and click the little bell.
Slink-a-doo, slink-a-dee,
and so you'll be notified whenever we drop a new show. All right, we'll see you later, traders.
Bye. Good evening. Chip, chip.